Alrighty. So we are once again gonna watch LightMage670, one of my students, through the NASEF League. They are typically an off-tank player. The last time we reviewed them, we were watching their Zarya gameplay, and the big issues for them were mostly bubble timing and knowing how to get value out of their bubbles. So the major thing we're going to look at is not only the Zarya bubbles and see if those have improved at all, but also what other off tanks that Light Mage can play, because we have not gotten to assess that yet. So let me start with the play. And I believe Light Mage is around.
We all have our jobs.
Ooh, gosh, I forget. It's like 2.1k.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
But we'll see how it goes.
What happened to you?
You tell me, Doc.
Say bacon one more time.
Cool. So let's see how this goes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Right.
Defend objective A.
Ready for battle. Testicles.
All right, so already I like how the bubbles have come out from the get-go. So Zarya Hog's a bit of a weird composition to be running. Last time it was really viable was towards the beginning of
objective A.
What was it, like beginning of October-ish was the last time it was good, just because of how the meta was working out. So a lot of what makes this composition good is Hog is able to pull in targets, bring him into close combat. You can bubble Hog if he gets hooked in the Hog mirror. You're running Reaper here, which is good to counter Hog, right? The main problem with this composition is that you're not running a shield. And you don't always need to be running a shield, right? But when you're playing Zarya Hog, you need to be looking for, okay, when is my Hog in danger? He's a very bulky target, but all his bailout really is just extra health and half damage. He takes a lot of fire. So being able to help Hog out is important. Being able to help out Reaper with the Death Blossom. I know Ace and Light Mage are on the same team, so they should have the ability to work together pretty well. You are playing into, I can't even really like define this composition because it's like kind of spam, kind of brawl. It's an interesting mixed bag here. But so what I want to see from Light Mage in this composition specifically is I want to see Light trying to help out his Hog with the Hog versus Hog mirror, right? Right. So he's using his bubble when he's actually taking damage, right? 25, 24, 23. And right here is really good is he hooks or when the Hog hooks in the other Hog, he's bubbling his teammate because he knows that he's probably going to take some fire, maybe get stunned out, maybe get shot by the Hog. This Hog tries to vape and run out, but this is a decent bubble. And it actually directly leads to a pick too, so that's Alright, he's anticipating damage to come through. The bubbles have gotten drastically better since we last talked. Focus fire, doing a lot of work. It's a little hard actually. Let me change my colorblind settings. And actually, let me turn off the capture noise. Forgot to do that. I'm turning off the colorblind settings because it keeps doing the thing where it shows the other team as a lighter blue. I always have the blue set to lighter blue, but it's showing both teams as blue now as a result. Just take place in the next game. Okay, whatever. I guess I can't fix it right now. So, looking at Light Mage.
I know.
Alright. You see the ult charge is at about 50. As soon as he steps through, gets to 80, right? Like he's stepping forward. Actually, he gets up to 92. So he he takes pretty much a full bubble's worth of damage just by stepping through this wall. So this is a really good bubble just to farm damage. Again, Zarya's got a slower play style. And as soon as he takes that damage, he backs out, right? He's not going to overstay his welcome. He doesn't know that his team's ready to help him yet. Because if he were to push, the Ana would not be able to help. The Mercy's a little bit far away. So this is actually, it feels like decent awareness. Bubbling your Reaper on the engage. It's a little early, but that's fine. Yeah, you should not be the one worrying about the Moira because you're at high charge. You should be the one holding choke. You're gonna do a little bit more playing here.
Just a scratch. Barrier's on you. Go.
You need to communicate that bubble to that Mercy. So that almost gets him killed. Not having bubble there.
Just a scratch.
Right. So if you want your Mercy to come back, that's what you're gonna need the bubble for here, right? Because she's gonna have to fly across. You don't want her getting hooked. You use that bubble there. And now you cross in front, right? Like this isn't terrible because you're still capping the point, but if you were in a situation where Mercy needs to cross, you need the bubble for that. Okay, that pressing all that makes it more powerful. It does not. Okay, so then you get picked off. Why? Also, how's it going, Rohit?
Barrier's on you. Go. I'm even stronger.
So, shoot the shield. Yeah. Shield's always something to shoot at. What happens here? So now that you see this Mei, right, you should be aware that you're probably the target that they're going to isolate, right? Because you're far forward. So when you see this Mei and you're in the choke, you need to know that that's a win condition, is they are going to try and do this wall. So you need to be ready for this. This is not a great wall. You can definitely slip out to the left here, and that'd probably be fine because you've got a Roadhog to back you out. Right, but at least you're getting hooked and pulled into the middle of the team, and the rest of the team isn't able to support you around this wall, right? So as soon as you recognize that the Mei's there, you got to play careful. Holding the choke is the right move. Just make sure that you're not overstaying your welcome. You can play somewhere like right here would even be okay. If you wanted, you could play here and spam right clicks, but your Hog's already got it. But having the angle control is fine. Just know that you're not really able to push in. And then the problem with this, of course, is because you die, you're at 97, and then all that charge is gone. And remember, Zarya is a very momentum-based character, so it's hard when you've lost that charge to get back. Not to get back, but to like start snowballing immediately after. But you get the cap, and that's what matters, at least in that moment.
In the fight. Let's get you back in the fight. Get in there.
So you need to be thinking about that Mei a little bit more.
Go.
Alright, you see the echo. You hear the echo at least, and you figure it out. So that's fine, but looking at the situation, right? Who's really the best equipped to deal with echo? Right? When you look at this composition, you've got another echo of your own, and you've got a Reaper. In this situation, you want the echo to be trying to regain this high ground because she's got the high ground contest. You can even send Reaper up here, and you can bubble either target, right? You're gonna help them cheat this duel. You don't need to be shooting there. You need to be shooting down main because this Mei is still a problem, right? You are going to do a lot more shooting down main and having a beam because getting this charge, right? What's your charge at? 90%, 99, right? So you're at full charge pretty much. You are going to do so much more by playing in main right now and trying to rout the enemy than trying to shoot up here, right? This is something that your teammate needs to deal with, especially because you know that you can communicate with them. So sending an Echo up here, sending a Reaper up here with Bubble will chase them out, if not secure a kill, right? But your focus needs to be down here. If you're playing D.va, it'd be a different story.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Don't hold back. Let's
if I try to put my finger on why. Alright, stepping in front, taking damage. Good. Alright. That bubble's a little early because Mei is not in a position where she can really do much, right? As soon as she transforms, they're all backing out because they don't want to be the team that gets caught in choke, right? So they're putting up shield, they're putting up their hook, they're using cooldowns, they're using ults too, right? So the bubble as the Mei drops, yeah, obviously you don't want Mei to get blast, or you don't want Echo to get blasted on impact, but she's not in a position where she's going to get the highest value out of it, right? Because she needs to farm up her ult charge. And so you're preventing a lot of entry damage when she's in a place where healers can maybe start pocketing her, right? She's got Mercy on her. Actually, let's watch it from Echo's perspective. I don't know why they're just shooting at that still. Right. So Bubble would have been really helpful to help Ace there. Just to ensure he survives his engagement.
Is fully charged. Get ready. Flight routine. Adaptive circuits engaged.
So right here, she's getting a little bit done, but like when Echo's getting pulled into this situation, like this is a better time for Bubble, right? Because she survives the hook, she survives the blast damage, you get damage out of it. She is probably gonna get forced into using Ice Block here.
Roadhog.
Yeah, so she gets Ice Block forced, and while she's doing that, she's not. Well, I guess she is getting ult charge off it, right? But you need to be playing for that Echo to get Blizzard ASAP. You could have left the hog, and if you're going to wake the hog, you need to make sure that you can follow up on this kill. You need to ensure that you're able to kill that hog before you do anything. So actually, let me watch this back one more time.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Reloading after one shot. Right here, you're at 23 ammo. Reload this, and then because now you're getting forced into a position like you gotta be aware of what your gun's at. Every grenade that you launch with the right click does 25 to your ammo. Right? If you reloaded, or if you had been thinking about your ammo and you've just let that hog lie there for a little bit longer, you finish this kill onto the Echo and you waste her ult. But she's probably gonna get whole hog off of this. Once she hits E.
Don't hold back.
And you just reload, like spam your right click, try to get some damage in there.
Let's keep it moving.
Alright, just you don't need to be reloading that. You can't push, but that doesn't mean you can't do anything. That was ambitious. I sense that's not doing the color blind thing anymore. Nice. Right? So you gotta be thinking about how to work with that sleep. Because you know that Ana's probably mad at you for that.
Let's keep it moving.
Right here. Look at this Sigma.
Огонь по готовности.
I mean, like, you really should have gotten this eaten here. This was not the time to be throwing that out. Even though you land it, there are going to be better Sigmas who eat this, right? It does get things done. It does open the way. Nice.
I am on fire.
Yeah, press that advantage. Try to right click her if you can.
Ready for battle. Just a scratch.
No, hunt down that kill. What are you doing? Do you know how scary you are in this position?
I am on fire.
Right here, you're 70% charged, right? You're not at maximum charge, but you're still at a decently high charge. You watch the Echo go into this corner. She isn't even trying to get the Mega. She's trying to help her supports here. You've used Bubble to eat up more damage. Your team can support you if necessary because of where the payload is. You only see this Reinhardt. Just try to get the right click. Right click and get out. Right?
Just a scratch.
You've abandoned what was free right there. And that would have definitely crippled this next fight. What are you doing here? Why are you AFK?
Maximum charge.
Right, so okay. I don't know what's going on in this situation, but I want to point something out. What happens here? In this time, right? From 4 minutes and 5 seconds on, I want you to notice what the enemy team does. They're setting up really easily here. You weren't applying any pressure. You didn't kill the Echo. You weren't pressing the advantage that you had, right? And you were in a position where you could do so because when you get there, again, right here, your Ana can see you. If you play even like right here and just spam right click, your Hog's coming back, your Echo's coming back, your Mercy will be back as long as the Echo taxis. You'll have people on the payload. You should be looking to press your advantage with your team here. Right? But instead, you just, like, AFK in the corner. I don't know why. Right? Maybe you're checking Twitter. Maybe you're doing something. I get it. Happens to all of us. But during this time, because you're not pressing an advantage, the entire 6 stack gets regrouped. And then I want to see these bubbles again. Right? Because I know you and Ace are in call for this. Right? Good bubble. Why? You're at max charge already. He's not going in yet. He's looking for his Death Blossom. He's probably told you he's looking for his Death Blossom. And in fact, the best time to do Death Blossom is going to be in about 3 seconds because Sigma's using hands. Right? This bubble onto a currently pocketed Reaper, right, by that Mercy, while you're at 100% damage. Like, this doesn't do anything. They're not on Hog anymore. And if he starts getting frozen, he has a way out. So this bubble needs to be safe for Blossom because I'm afraid of him getting, slept, pinned, frozen, rocked. Like there's like 8 different things that can happen to him here. And you bubbled him now, and the hands are down. Like, this is the time for him to go. All things considered, he can't be relying on you to bubble him now because this is the window of opportunity. But he dies for it, right? Like, your teammate, I'll play it back. Your teammate was relying on you to have that bubble here. Right? Because what damage does he take? What charge do you get? Right? If he's really in danger here, the Mercy will be able to pocket him because she's currently damage boosting because she knows that he's not in danger. And he has Wraith. Like, he still has his Wraith cooldown. Right? With those hands gone, now he's got to engage. He has to get close. Look at the damage he's doing. Die. He's healing it back because of the Vampiric passive. But look what position he's been forced into, right? This could have been a lot better if he wasn't taking all this damage. He would have been able to get closer. He wouldn't have been pressured to use it when he did. And that's on you for not being able to help.
Maximum
Also, did you just take that damage? Okay. Right, so this fight you call a loss. Oh no, because they... What are you bubbling? You're on the other side of the wall here. again, if you're gonna wake him up, you gotta make sure you can kill him, right? I do this too as Zarya. It's okay, right? I've done this a lot, even in diamonds, but it's not good. It's not good luck. So this bubble doesn't make sense here, right? Because you're behind a wall. This bubble's okay because he's getting pressured. And he's about to get rocked too. So you do a lot there. May gets killed. That's good. But there are like 8 different things that you could be doing here, right? What if you're pressuring the Sigma? Because yes, Ryan's on that cart, but your team needs to win this fight. Ryan can't contribute while he's asleep. Think about the Tracer. As a pro Overwatch player myself, this game plays 0 out of 10. He's never played Overwatch in his life, I guarantee you. But there's things you need to be worried about, right? Like this Moira, you need to make sure that she's getting pressured. You need to make sure that the Sigma's getting pressured, right? Of every target that you can pick, Ryan is such a narrow-sighted short term. Because like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get him off cart. Okay, well, you're gonna need to get Sigma off cart. You're gonna need to get Moira off the cart, right? Ryan's not your worry right now. But then you right click him again, and then you leave, right? And he gets damage off on you. So that's the second time that you've ruined this on his sleep and not been able to follow through on it. Because you just kind of saw a target that was down and shot it. Don't do that. Not bad bubble. You got to charge after this. Right, again, you're a momentum-based character. Notice how you haven't had to actually fully back out of the fight yet. You know, whether or not that's a good thing, it remains to be seen, but because you're able to keep your momentum going, you know, Zarya is a slow character. Good job, break the shield. Bubble's a little weird on Hog there. Bubble would have been a lot better on Reaper. Alright, Sigma's down, Ryan's down. You could grab this if you really wanted. Right, because Ace is there to follow through.
Maximum charge.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, Ace needed your help there. You needed to run that. You walled off. Alright. Well, you win the fight. You win the fight because your damage is so good. Right? You end up getting a lot more done in those situations just because your Mercy's doing okay, your Ana's actually in a really good position, you're doing a lot more damage than they're able to do back to you. But there's still a lot of mistakes being made. Oh, don't die here. Oh. Yeah, you kind of had to use bubble there. You should be okay there. Okay, but look at where your team is now, right? Oh, you're in open... No, you're not in open queue. You have an echo. I'm losing my mind. Right, but think about what's happening here, right? Your Hog is looking for a pick here. Your Echo is trying to push. Your Mercy's trying to push with. Where are you? You're on the payload, right? Yes, the payload needs to get progress, but you need to be, as a superior damage dealer, helping your Echo with this push. Or at least trying to get some damage in there.
I'm back in the
That's really risky again with the D matrix. I want to watch that back. So did you even see the defense matrix coming out? Alright, so you're not doing anything here. Okay, so you saw the defense matrix go down. You see it come up again. Right? I feel like you're not tracking the defense matrix here, even though you see this D.Va. You kind of just walk up into her face. Alright, you get damage done. Your team's collapsing on it. Good. You've kept your charge really high, though. I will give you that right now. You're keeping it really high, considering you've only died once, twice. Nice, you force that out. Oh. Okay. What happened?
Keep moving.
Okay. So right here, what is the situation? Tracer is harassing your Ana, or at least trying to. Should she just fall? No, she's gonna recall it. So you got Tracer on your backline still. Everyone's looking at you. Mercy's trying to help Hog. This is not the person that needs to be helped. So this Mercy needs to be helping whoever's doing things. But as soon as you kind of recognize that you're not getting help, there's no shame in playing this corner, right? Even though this is a kill that you should be able to get, you're also taking kind of a 1v4 situation. Like, you can't even see this Ana. Ana's keeping them up. Their sustainability is better than you. And it's not by any fault of your own, right? You get headshot by an Ashe, but you weren't in a position to be doing things, and I don't think you recognize it. Oh, you bubbled the wrong person, right? Again, Ace is here doing Death Blossom in front of a D.Va, right? Try to demech this D.Va for Ace here. Try to bubble him so he doesn't just get rolled by the Moira. All right, synergize with your teammates, especially the ones that you're communicating with. All right, not bad. You actually did really, really well with the bubbles, though. Like, it's significantly improved on the bubbles. I really like to see that.
Give me 20.
Gather some valuable
Nice, I like this.
mission.
All right.
Defend objective A.
Good. So you're playing kind of the same thing as they were doing to you with the Mei here. Right? Your win condition is going to be getting this wall, and then you need to be focusing this target down. Right? Nice. Perfect.
Give me your best Barriers on you. Don't hold back.
Okay. So right here, what are you doing? Are you waiting for the Widow?
Barriers on you.
All right, you see the Widow, I think. You see her leave, though.
Don't hold back.
Like, you saw him jump out of the way, even if you don't see her dropping now. What are you doing here, right? Do you want to, like, try throwing right clicks in this way? You can challenge this as a tank. You're at full HP as Zarya. You aren't the target she's looking for, first and foremost. But even if she does hit you, you won't die off of that. And you should be in a position where your team can support you, right? So, like, you're okay to peek this as Zarya. You can right click this. And especially if you're not sure if the Widow's still up there, you can just, poke in and out. She shouldn't be looking for you. But instead, you're not doing much, right? So also, in this position, right, now that your team is starting to push up, you should be holding here anyways, right? Because what you're going to end up doing is setting up a crossfire. All right, look at this. If you are playing in this position right here, actually, let me open up. Does this work? Right. Given where you are right now, what if you were firing from here? And now you have both angles onto the choke. Right? As long as the entire team is doing one large push this way, they're able to hide around this corner. If you play here and you have that backup, right? If you're in this position, I think the Ana should be able to see you if she's playing like back here. Actually, let me see. Let's delete. Let's go over to Ana, right? Okay. So as long as you're able to back out around this corner, Ana can still play here, right? Ana playing in this back corner is a little iffy, but like there's really not too much of a change of here and swinging out a little. There really is no significant change for her swinging out a little. So you can afford to play back here because you're in that line of sight. Do you see that? Ooh, wrong one. So right here, right? By playing in this position, you're able to do damage from here, and you're able to deny that rotation too. So let's watch this again. So let's see what happens. is the first fight.
Barriers on you.
Let's see what happens with this next push from them.
Barrier activated. Russia with love.
Genji's got an angle now. Worried about him. Alright, right here. Right? Your hog is holding this flank alone. Reaper's died because he overextended. So where you're playing now is okay. Right? Not the greatest, but you're holding a different angle from your Roadhog, but you are down one, so be mindful. Maybe you should be like thinking about, oh, can Mercy rest this, right? Well, not when they're pushing, obviously. Okay? That bubble's a little early. Right? Because what if someone had gotten hooked?
Maximum
Yeah,
charge.
you need to push through this. What give you all that damage?
Maximum charge.
Okay. You kind of forgot that there are people behind you, right? You can leave this Hanzo for a little bit when there's people shooting you in the back, because Hanzo isn't going to be able to do too much on his own, especially when people know he exists, right? Like, yes, you do need to remember that he's here, but right now you're Hanzo isn't a threat to you in this fight until you go up into him, right? They shoot you in the back. I think your team loses after this, right? Yeah, Samara just cleans up. So, not having Reaper there hurts. Some of the timings there hurt a little. Okay.
Objective lost. Stop the pain. Bring it.
Another thing that you need to be worried about, which I haven't seen too much of, but they are running Genji D.va. Do be mindful of where your Ana is, because you are going to be the one who needs to support her with bubble, right? So Ana is going to be someone that when you're running into D.va and Genji, because they're like divier characters, they're going to look for a squishy like Ana. They're going to jump her. So you have to be mindful that, hey, my bubble is kind of the one survival tool. Now, Ana hasn't gotten jumped a whole lot yet, but I have the feeling that it might happen at some point.
Let's get you back out there.
Ready for battle.
Alright, so that was one of those like anticipating damage bubbles.
Bring it. The payload.
Use bubble, waiting for damage, didn't come. Use bubble like here,
Ready for battle.
waiting for damage, doesn't come. Oh, you needed a second right click that earlier. You should have just been spamming that. This is awkward. Right, so what happens? You have grab, right?
Ready for battle.
If you were looking to... Alright, as soon as you hear, okay, there's a blizzard on the table, right? As soon as you know that D.va is up here, right? Either because, you know, Ace is communicating it, you're in a call with them, you've got 3 people up here, but as soon as you have an understanding that D.va is not in the fight, well, okay, it's difficult, right? Because there's nobody who's really going to be able to follow it through, and because your bubbles were not ideal, you don't have the damage to follow through on it. But, like, this is a time, in purely, like, situational terms, this is a time where Grav could come out and it could be okay. Because you could at least, like, get the Ana killed. You can maybe force out Valkyrie, or not Valkyrie. You can maybe force out Coalescence here. You can maybe make them use a couple of ults in this situation. Assuming, of course, that your team is able to follow through. As soon as your DPS drop and D.va's still up here, like this is where a grab would be okay. As long as you're able to hook people into it. But then you kind of push with it, and you don't even see targets, and you just throw it. You throw it, you're like, yeah, there's people here. And who's a capture? Just this dude, right? You've invested 2 ults to get 1 kill here because the timing was off. People weren't ready to follow through, right? You know that Blizzard grab was a combo, but you didn't think about like, okay, when's the actual time for it to be appropriate? So you burnt. You got a kill on Hanzo. Like, that's cool.
Get in there.
Nice kill. Okay. Did you have bubble there?
Get in there.
Bubble to clear the purple. Right.
Give me your best.
You're playing forward with bubble, like this is good. You're body blocking for your team here. You're getting some ult charge in. That's like good positional play. Get the kill there. Oh, you didn't have. Yeah, people aren't really sure when we go into. You get back up to full charge, like good again. We talked about that. But remember when we were talking about like, okay, part of Zarya's value is in fights is being able to keep that momentum. So when you're high charge, right, and you are down, let's see, who's died?
Helden sterben nicht.
Wait, hold on a second. What's happening here? Okay. Reaper's about to die here. May's going in. Like, you have to get out. This fight's gone. They're gonna start getting this choke back. You've lost 2 people who do a heavy amount of damage. You're not gonna win this. You have time to run out and start regrouping for this next corner. You need to keep that charge, right? Your survival is more important than getting in the 10 damage.
Maximum charge.
Right. That bubble. So clearly you know that people are trying to escape. If you're gonna bubble this, right? Because you're thinking, oh, they're gonna push the May and May needs to get out. You gotta get out too, right? There's no reason for one of you to get out and one of you to stay in. You both need to get out when they've taken this choke, right? I want to watch from your honest perspective because I know Yana dies. She just loses a sniper duel. I don't know why she was taking that. Yeah, so you die with all that charge. You get a good amount of ult charge out of it, which is like, okay, cool, but you're losing your momentum again. Right, and as a result of not giving up corner phase, right? Let's watch this back. As a result of not giving up choke here, right? This is a core fight right there. I'm gonna pause this. So the core fights in King's Row happen in choke, if you're able to hold it with a close combat situation. Corners in Streets phase, you can either take this corner by Library or this corner at the end of Cafe. There's like half a fight that happens back here, but really it's part of the point B contest fight, right? So again, this is third fight. Second fight is like this kind of box here. My parakeet is very upset with me, and he might be upset with you too. Who knows? I don't know what he's mad about. And then the first fight, right? So not only have you just given up, or you've refused to give up the first fight here, in this situation,
Helden sterben nicht.
by being right here, all right? You're letting them get progress. You haven't finished the chase out. They use Cole, which is a cheap ult, and you lose Valkyrie as a result. So you lost your charge here. So this fight has spanned across both point 1 and 2, not as a full team, and now you've lost both of them, right? And you're still committing to the, your team's still committing to the second fight here, which I find just bizarre. I guess they're trying to clutch it out. Okay. Well, they've clutched at the end of 2, but in most circumstances, this is not going to work. At higher levels, this is definitely not going to work.
Where does it hurt?
What is Ace doing? Alright, yeah, pick, push. Alright, so you've just barely won it back here. Alright, you bubbled who you could. It's fine. Alright, where's this Genji going? Right into your backline. I don't know what he's doing here. It's so weird. But anyways. Alright. Bubble your way out. Good.
Don't hold back.
All right, you bubble who you could see. That's good. Right, even though that was someone who had an escape option, your intent was in the right place and you got charged off of that. These grabs right into whoever's got like an ability to eat them makes you so tense every time. Right, because you're not even aware, I think, that they're down. I don't think there's any way that you can be aware that these abilities are not up. Because you're straight up looking the other way. You see, okay. Did you see that D-Matrix? I think you actually saw that D-Matrix. So this is good, right? Because it just went down. This is good regardless, because Defense Matrix just went down, is on the 1 second cooldown. What I want to know is whether or not you actually saw that happen, right? If that registered.
Freeze! Don't move.
All right, and this is one of those things where it works with the grab blizzard. I'm gonna play this from out here.
I am ready.
Get hooked here. Bomb comes out. Remeching. Okay, so Genji gets on that flank. You know that they're trying to push into this, right? You know that the push is coming based off of the ults that they're using. You know, the Genji has gone into your backline. So that audio cue alone should let you know, okay, fight's about to like really begin. Even though they've already tried to throw in a bomb for engage, they're already using their ult. They're gonna try and push off of this anyways. So grab here is good, right? You know, discounting throwing it right into a D.va's face, and you get 4 people with it, right? Because they're trying to push you. And then the blizzard comes out. This is a little overkill at this point. You've invested 3 ults here. Actually, you've also invested nano earlier. And they've lost 3 ults as well, right? So this is kind of a heavy investment fight. Not the cleanest way to take it, but you know, if they're investing, you may as well too, right? Like you just want to make sure that you win this fight, especially when they're spending their ults. And this Genji, just I don't know why he blitzes in like that, but whatever, right? So good. That ult worked and got value because it was at a time where the team was pushing into you. It was when people were able to follow through, right? The one thing I didn't like about it was not knowing whether or not you were aware Defense Matrix was down. But if you did know, then perfect, right? You played that very, very well in that situation. Good job. Nice kill. Use your beam. Use your beam when D.va's up. Right, rolling corners. All right, so here we go. Right, here's that thing that we were talking about. D.va is going to try to push her Ana, and you have no way of helping her here, right? This corner is ideal for you to be fighting, for sure, right? This is where you want to be, but you're not in a position to help your Ana, and that's a little dicey. I wouldn't be surprised if she died off this. Especially you just got hooked. Okay. And what happened there? You didn't have support from your Ana because she was getting pressured out. Your Hog wasn't there either, right? One of the two of you needs to be helping her and looking out for her. This parakeet will not stop shouting at me. Right? But you don't have help in this situation, and now you've lost because you don't have help there. So.
Без труда не вытащишь и рыбку из пруда.
Okay. Back in a fight now. We're pushing. Right, good. Good bubble. You're taking damage.
Now see what I can do.
Good bubble. You're helping someone get out, right? Like, these bubbles are good. Don't overstay your welcome, right? Because you die for it, and then the damage doesn't matter. But, like, the bubble timing has gotten better. How would I have taken this fight differently? Okay, as soon as Coalescence comes out, you need to be holding a corner, right? They are going to push onto this, and you are not in a position to be doing much about it. They're going to push into you. You're not in a position to push back. I cannot get this camera angle correct. You're not in a position to be pushing back onto this, right? You're low on health. You're on his front lining. God knows why. Well, she also got hooked, I think, but yeah. I'm kind of surprised that they just nano hog and pray that's gonna work. They missed a lot there, but it works out. They are off D.va now though, which is good.
Go, charging up. Bring it.
Hey, you don't need to grab that, so you don't like do it if you don't need to. Nice, you follow through. Good awareness. Right, your awareness got better in that situation. You knew things were going on, and you looked back to deal with the Reaper. Okay, so what happens? The bubbles are kind of a waste in the beginning. You're helping the person who's pushing. And as soon as you hear the Death Blossom come out, you whip around and start doing damage. Right? And you follow through without hesitation. Right? That can get faster for sure. But given your current rank, like I don't expect you to be immediate with it. So good job. Alright. But you don't have charge here. So you may want to start looking to farm charge during this poke phase, right? Bait out some shots, try to get some stuff going. Use the bubbles here, right, during this very light poke phase when they're on the respawn, and then when you think they're about to start pushing, back out. Because when you do that, you're going to farm some charge, and you should be able to get your cooldowns back in time. If you started to do this now while they're mid-push, if you came out here and tried to use bubble, you're instead going to get them forced. Or if they push through here, you're going to get them forced because you're not going to be in a real fight. You're going to be using them as a bailout, and there's a good chance that they kill you or you don't have them for something that's about to come up. Like a whole hog or nano monkey, right?
Now see what I can do.
Right? So now right here, you're about to use bubble, and they're about to start a fight. And you run the Reaper, and now things are going badly. Throw out grab as a panic thing, right? Reaper gets out. Alright, that could have gone very badly. Thankfully it didn't, but you did get grab force as a result. Like they got a lot of momentum in, and you had nothing to counteract with. So now you're just kind of scrambling for the card. Like, you still lose this fight, which, you know, you can't win them all. But if you had done a little bit more to try and build up your ult charge, you wouldn't have been in a panic position, right? That would have been a much more coordinated fight. Ace goes for it. I don't agree with that.
Без труда не вытащишь и рыбку из пруда.
Okay.
60 seconds remaining.
Hi, Katie. I'm gonna make food, so I'm not really here. But hi, hello, Katie. Nice to see you. Now, bye. All right, see you, Katie. So what makes this bubble in particular bad? On the Mercy. Not that it's a bad bubble, but why isn't it the most effective
И
bubble?
рыбку из пруда.
Right, so Doomfist comes in and slams. Doesn't get much done. Doesn't have punch yet, because you see him charging it out. Hog misses hook, right? So this bubble gets no charge, even though a Doomfist is diving the Mercy, because Mercy is getting out while the knuckle punches or the knuckle shots are coming through. And you bubble her in between damage cycles, right? So if I were to watch this back from here, knowing how Doomfist damage cycles work, where he either slams or punches to get in, uppercuts, and then gets out when he's looking for picks or playing for picks, right here. I actually shouldn't be standing still like that. That's so dumb. But what's gonna happen here? Doomfist is gonna dive in, and you watch the Doomfist come in. So you haven't predicted the damage that's about to come in from the Doomfist. So that's, you know, not necessarily your fault, but that was an opportunity. She flies out. Doomfist isn't able to follow through on the punch because it's Mercy. She flies out. You bubble her, and now the punch is coming through. And because he sees bubble, and because Hog's throwing hook, he punches his way out. He's failed to get the elimination. He wants to get out here. So you have misread the situation, or at least not responded accordingly. And your bubble, I wouldn't say like it got forced, but you tried to use it with the right intent, and the reason it didn't work was because you were between damage cycles, right? So that's like one of those things that you need to look out for. Will you end up needing team bubble here? Quite possibly, right? Especially if Ace is trying to get in or out.
Get in there.
It seems to take you a while to start reloading. Okay. I'll watch this guy. Right, so you've got something to work with. You could be trying to pop this bubble here or just use up the gun. Right. Instead you're kind of just looking for a target. Which you find. Okay. Your May is going to need a bailout in a second. Okay. Well, she walls him in. And now you're in a position that you can't win, right? I don't think this bubble really does much, but there's really no reason for you to just be in there milling about because it makes it harder for the Ana to heal you, right? So looking at this from a review, this Blizzard's good because it forces out ults and denies like the push, so it splits them up, right? Ana gets frozen, Ana gets killed off of that. You try to save Ace from the Doomfist ult, that's fine, right? I don't care too much about that. Now watch where you are, right? So you've missed that there's somebody on your Ana right now who hasn't died, thankfully, because the Reaper doesn't want to go in on the Hog for some reason. But you're not aware of where your Ana is. I can already tell that much. Bird is angry again. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Reaper in the corner. I love that. Right. But now your Ana's playing probably a little bit more further out than she wants to, trying to kill you. Yeah, she's already trying to reset. This fight's just chaotic. Not enough happens during the window that you had. We're gonna cap off this, I think.
30 seconds remaining. Ready for battle.
For yourselves out
Okay.
there. I'll get us home safe.
This looks like you're playing for picks. I thought you said you played other off tanks besides Zarya in this match, but I'm mostly seeing Zarya.
2,
That's fine.
1.
Okay.
Attackers
They're
incoming.
gonna run double shield
Defend
toward Bastion.
objective
Okay. They're trying to play the cheese comp for sustainability, right? So their objective is gonna be holding long lines of sight in order to get picks. Zarya is going to be difficult into this, if only because you can only take so much damage for your team, right? And it's gonna be hard to isolate a team like this. But as long as Ace gets good angles and you're playing angles, right? You can't play a linear style in the Bastion, which I think we talked about that in a different review.
Now see what I can do.
All right. So like that bubble is okay because you're trying to take the damage early and get the momentum built up. All right. Well, Ace gets found. Oh, yeah. You messed up your escape here. What happened?
Now see what I can do.
All right. So you saw Rhynarissa and probably the Bastion. You know Torb. You know Moira now. And you definitely know Bastion because you've seen that in the film. As soon as you see this, you need to be prepared to take a fight to not let them get set up. And you need to be prepared to escape in the event that they do get set up. Right? So wall comes out, but it's Bastion, and Bastion's got a nice line of sight where he can just keep shooting you. So playing right here is death, especially when you don't have bubble. So you play into that back corner and then realize that you don't play, right? You've been trapped. Alright, so you should have started backing earlier, I think. Even though you didn't know what they're gonna play, you should have started backing earlier.
30 seconds.
Ready for
You're playing in the line of sight. So that's just, play lane, win game. Welcome back, Katie.
I foresee great things.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm gonna go for pirate ship. So you can try and fight corner now that everybody's got
Objective lost.
Everybody? Question mark?
Stop the payload.
Yeah. So everybody's gotten good spawns. It's just a matter of people coming back slow. But in theory, while this payload is getting set up, and if the Bastion doesn't have full line of sight, you all can start setting up corner and take this first fight. This is a decent time for you to try it.
Overtime.
But you remember, you can't be playing into the line of sight of Bastion. Okay, so you hold corner. This is fine. Ryan's taking a lot of pressure trying to keep his Bastion up. Keep it up.
Get in there.
You're anticipating damage that's not coming through, and the bubbles are going to be a lot more critical into a Bastion. Right, you're hearing him ult, and you've anticipated damage, and you misread the situation, right? Because now you're out of bubble when you're really gonna need it.
On you.
Ana got killed behind you. You got killed behind you. Back got killed behind you, and you have no charge, right? Yeah. Fast is hard to play into. Ideally, you switch to D.va here. Oh, you swapped to Hog. Okay. But again, this is one of those situations where because your team didn't want to back out earlier, you've lost fights 1 and 2, and you're losing fight 3, right? Because people just got trickled so hard. Right. So you lost all of B because of that one fight, which is really unfortunate.
Healing stream engaged.
You need to be looking for angles here. So if you all are blitzing down, right, you're playing Hog. Hog thrives off of being the dominator of an angle, right? So Hog can get here. Hog can play U-bend, back out, behind. The only threat is if he gets pushed, but realistically speaking, when you're running this kind of composition, Torb, Bap, Bastion, Orisa, the only people who are really going to rush you are like Moira, Ryan. So you can play back into, oh my god, I'm so lost. Ooh. You can play into U-Bend here, right where the Mega is. So if you play U-Bend, you can go for hooks when it starts rounding the corner. You can start finding picks. You have a Mega to play with right here. Your team ideally is playing somewhere along here, which prevents them from pushing into you. But what I think is going to happen is all 6 of you are going to run it down mid, right? So I want to watch from above just to see if that is in fact what happens here. If all 6 of you run down mid, oh, that's a good blizzard actually. Yeah, you need to be playing up. All right. So your team's running it down mid. Your Sigma's on the off angle right now. Actually, I don't know what your Sigma is doing there. Right, but oh, shattered. Right. In this situation, because your team's not playing, you're not playing this angled style. Look how free this Bastion is. If Sigma's in your spot, hook him, and then just drop him into the pit with the rest of the Omnics. Right. I want to highlight what pressure this Bastion is under because I don't think it's much. It's this linear style that your team's throwing at them. Right? Right, wall just breaks. He hears the blizzard and he backs out of it. And he shoots that down. Like, this isn't even a particularly great angle. Alright, he fixes that for a little bit. But, like, he can't look at everything based off someone being on the high ground, right? Not everybody's playing mid, he just shoots. He's playing his little putt, point and click adventure. Oh, that's a bad. Like, he's taking all the time in the world to set up. He has to get up. The only way this gets won is off of a Sigma 9, right? The good old Sig 9. Right? Just because of how long it takes. Like, okay, he's playing with too. But look at what he's able to do when he goes on this off angle, right? He's not risking himself with damage. And he's still putting like at least a little bit of pressure that doesn't let the Ryan push immediately. This lift is huge. Right, this lift is huge because that Bastion had to back out. The Bastion had to back out because Ace was shooting from the top of this. Right. But your impact as Hog in this situation was very, very minimal.
Score. Initiating match. Ready for battle.
All right. Looks like they want to run the same exact thing here, which it is more defensively oriented, which makes it good for escort, because you just have to defend a payload. Right, that's why you see pirate ship on escort, is because the point is always moving. You just play a defensive game the whole time. Or at least you get yourself set up to continue the cart movement.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So the big thing here, right, is going to be knowing how to use your bubbles if you're trying to play in the Bastion, right? You need to get bubble, when do you need to get bubble? You need to work with your signature. Alright, so you know he's taking damage. It's a good bubble. You got yours ready to go. Okay, pretty good. Right? You're playing slow, right? You need to play a slow style. Which is typically not fun to do in a Bastion, right? Bastion kind of explodes when he gets rushed. So playing a slow style in a Bastion is difficult, but it's what you need to do to get value as Zarya. Because you can't just blitz him at 0 charge. I don't like that you're bubbling that. I don't like that he's throwing shield out. I don't know what Ace did. What did Ace do?
Enemy turret ahead.
What is he doing? Okay, he wasted that shit. Tried to get the jump on people. Alright, so he's trying to set up. He's trying to set up for you to push. So I like the intent, even though the execution is really flawed. Right, but you're getting angles and you're getting map control in this situation, which isn't bad. It's just weird the way it's happening. Because he's going in with nobody pushing in, right? So actually, this is more of a comment for Ace, because I know Ace is gonna watch this too. Ace, what are you doing here, right? Because your tracer is not ready to push in. your team is not ready to push in, and even though Bastion is a very one-directional linear character, you pushing in alone still makes you the focus. Even if you're getting the jump on this Bastion, you're getting shot in the back right now. Like, what's the meme of, like, they're in a church and it's that dude sitting in the front pew, and then the woman behind him with the gun, and then there's a woman behind her with the gun, and then there's like a sniper on the roof, and they've all just got their guns pointing at one another. Like, that's what's happening right here. Is Bastion's got his gun pointed at the choke, you've got your guns pointed at Bastion, and then Sigma's got his hyperspheres, and Baptiste's got his gun pointed at the back of you, right? And you just get exploded off this, especially because your shift got forced because you did a weird teleport to get in. You heavily telegraphed it, right? So that's a little tangent, but this is a LightMage670 review here. But now this push is borked pretty much because your flanker did not get set up.
Get in there.
Now you're doing the same thing. You're doing the exact same thing Ace just did. Actually, I'm really glad I talked about that because you did the exact same thing that Ace just did. You didn't push him with the team. You didn't have angles set up. You're already down one. Right. This Bastion position isn't even particularly great if you switch up the comp a little. Well, look at what you do here. You are now in a position where you cannot be supported. I don't know why your Mercy stepped forward. Right? You are hyper fixated on the Bastion. You don't even stop to consider that this Baptiste has no help here, because he's just used his lamp. Right? Imagine what happens if you play here and you start zapping that Baptiste. He has to back out. He has to worry about you. They have to turn their attention, right? Attention is a resource, and you're buying that attention here. But your team's not in any position where they're able to push in. So you buying this attention literally doesn't matter. It literally does nothing here other than, I love buying attention, my favorite resource, true and real, right? But it does nothing because even though you've forced your Bastion to turn around, well, it's not like you could have been shooting at people anyways, right? Your team wasn't ready to push. Your Mercy had just died. Your Reaper's coming back from spawn. Your Tracer died. Like this whole situation is unfortunate. So I'm really glad I talked about it with making Ace an example because we've done the exact same situation. And so now Ace is trying to push it. Like everybody's so focused on the Bastion, they're not thinking about how you need to take him out, right? You're all feeding one by one into him, and that's pretty much what he loves, right? I would be the happiest little Bastion if they were doing this to me. Right? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make you watch this again. I'm gonna make you watch this from Bastion's perspective. All right? He hears you. Right there. He had to do a double take. And now you're dead, and he's like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna shoot down mid. Okay, there's a Reaper on me, and they're using chip. Like this Bastion is terrible. This Bastion actually can't aim. That's why they're playing Bastion, is because they can't aim. But the reason that they're getting value is because they only have to think about one thing at a time. I want you to watch this dude's little double take that he does, right? Look at this. He's waiting. Okay, I didn't do my job correctly. I had one job, and that was to shoot, and I messed it up. And look, I want you to watch his little panic in half speed. Look at his little panic. All right, he kills Mercy, but there's a Zarya behind me. But there's people in main, but there's a Zarya behind me. And he has to keep flicking his head back and forth. And he has to flick back again, but you're dead, right? But imagine the stress that he is under as Bastion, because he's like, oh no. Shoot two things at once? That wasn't part of the deal. Right? And Reaper legitimately scares him because he flicks all the way back around, and then he flicks the Reaper, misses, flicks the Reaper, misses. This dude's aim is so shaky. That shift's kind of bad. But Reaper dies, and at the end of the day, Bastion feels good about himself, and I guess that's what matters.
Widowmaker here.
Okay, going Hog now.
One man apocalypse.
So with Hog, you're gonna have to take angles against these shields. You're gonna have to figure out a way to get your hook to redirect people around. With this comp, it's gonna be a little bit hard because you don't have a whole a lot of healing, and you are going to demand a lot of resources from your healers. Ana's going to need to keep a line of sight on you, and you're going to be going on a flank. You're going to want to work with Ace here to communicate. Right. It's like hooking this Orisa wouldn't be bad, because by hooking her, you force Fortify, or you force Shield, probably both actually, and you get a lot of damage in, to the point where you can take out a tank and then wait a little bit because of the respawn timer. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know why you don't go for it. Well, she already got... Yeah, like you should have been anticipating this. This linear hook will not work, because they're running double shield. Right? This does not work like
I'm
this.
a one-man apocalypse.
Right? I know Orisa isn't the target you want. I know you want Bastion here, but think about the implication if you hook her. She loses a cooldown, if not both cooldowns. You're able to get a significant amount of damage, to the point where she can no longer hold the angle that you need to get into to get here, right? So Orisa has to back out. People have to focus on healing Orisa, not healing Bastion. If your team were to push off of this, right? This is a target who is out of position. I know Bastion is the threat, but you need to recognize that this is bad. This is not good for this Orisa to be playing. She has very little help if she winds up back here. And it will snowball for the rest of her team. Instead, you were like, okay, I can hook Bastion now because the shield's up, and you've forgotten that they're running Sigma too. And Sigma knows exactly what you're trying to do, and because you're hooking and not healing, Bastion melts you down, right? So this linear style, you lose 10 times out of 10 against a Bastion.
Roadhog rides again.
Make you think about switching D.va? Okay. So D.va is going to be the fastest of the three tanks you've shown me so far. Her defense matrix is a really useful resource to eat pretty much every projectile or bullet that's coming through, besides, you know, rock and a couple of others. But what you're going to want to do now, right, this is where you need to coordinate the push to either go through Hotel and start getting a pincer onto this. Actually, I'm gonna switch to the drawing mode. Let me draw. Okay, so with D.va, your defense matrix, if you use it right here, I'm gonna do this in this little pink outline. This defense matrix specifically will allow your team. I'm gonna put this in blue for friendlies. Actually, no, I don't like that. I'm gonna do this in yellow so it shows up. So you can do the yellow rotation here, right, and start setting up into a more aggressive position behind where the Bastion's set up, and start pinching him in. If you have, you know, some people go this way, some people go here. This same defense matrix will also allow, and I'm going to do this one in black. Hopefully that shows up. Yeah, it kind of shows up. Will allow you to rotate around the side of statue. You know, you can either go here, play this kind of circle, and make the force of Bastion to reposition or reconsider where he's positioned, because then he's going to be very close to the fight that's about to happen. You can help Widow get set up here on this high ground. There's a lot of different things you can do. What I want to see the most of, though, is using defense matrix to A, initiate a push in order to get your team through this choke, because Bastion's holding it very, very well. And then B, I need to see you taking an off angle as D.va, right? Not necessarily the steepest of off angles, but I need you to be buying some attention to pressure them out, right? So imagine if this wasn't a how do I phrase this? It's easier to imagine in a situation like right here at this choke, where if you have, I'm gonna do this in pink. If you have a D.va playing up here while the rest of the team is playing in choke, like you're doing things, and you, I think, can hit this with defense matrix. I'm not sure, right? This isn't the greatest example. This is just one I'm thinking of in the moment. But while the enemy team, I'm going to use the blue X's, is playing right here, and your team's playing here, you shooting them and peppering them from above is non-zero damage. It certainly adds up. And you have to divert resources away from the main fight by playing here. and your defense matrix is able to help your team if necessary. Right? That's a more vertical example, but you hopefully get the idea. But what's most important is that you're helping escort your team through.
Boosters engaged.
Okay, actually, this is a good example, right? Playing up here is a great example of getting that extra angle. Because now people have to think about this and this, and they're receiving fire from both ways. So this is not a bad example, but the problem with this is your team isn't ready.
Denied.
Like, look at what you're bringing to the table here. Choke is actually clear. Choke is actually clear for this hot second when you're doing this, but none of your team's ready for it. So you had the right idea, and now you've given up the position because you realized that people weren't pushing, but that was like a good place to be holding, right?
Defense matrix activated.
This shield needs to go down, not break, go down.
Time to raise my APM.
Okay, so you like try to do the defense matrix, and now you're taking this off angle, right? This is good. This is a more horizontal off angle. So you understand at least the core concept behind D.va. The problem is getting your team to go with it too, right? And waiting for your team. I don't know why you give this up.
Defense matrix
Because you are
activated.
forcing this Bastion to reposition with you every time you do this. Okay, so you set up the pincer. Good. You're starting to get more, now that they're in, you're starting to get set up. Yeah, this is fine. I actually like this. Another panic bomb.
Get through this.
Kind of sloppy, but at the end of the day, you did your job, right? You did all the things that I just talked about. Again, in a weird way, but oh, you got to back off that. You should be able to win this. Nice. D.va main. You see it? So I want to watch this from the Bastion's perspective now. I want to see what you did to them. Right. They can't look at main. They could kill that Mercy. They don't. They're feeling the pressure. They want to hold one zone. They realize that this isn't ideal. They want to be playing behind the window. Reposition again. You force this Bastion to give up the choke, right? Because you forced people to commit to you. And now he can't look at you on the left. Ace. What's that? The D.va isn't there anymore. Ace is going a little bit weird, but that's okay. But look at all the space that they've lost because they no longer know how to play around this. I'll watch it one more time from above. Right, D.va is a good pick here. D.va is a good pick and you play it decently. This ult's just early. But I want you to look. I'm gonna go into drawing mode. Right. The space that they have is here. And then on your first like half attempt of a push, the space that they have is here, going this way, instead of... Actually, let me rephrase this. Originally, the control that they have is here, going through this, pretty much. This is a bit iffy, but they have this space, like kind of within their control, at least within their line of sight. And then you rotating behind the statue makes their space narrowed down to about this that they can work with. And then once you've gotten people into position, the space now gets shortened to about this, and then having a loose grip on everything. Like this you have a tighter angle on, but it's like not a great amount of control over the left side from their perspective, right? Because look at how they all get huddled in this one corner trying to bunker up. Right? They get pressured because you start taking angles on them, and really forcing their hand quite a bit. So this is fine, right? I do the dotted lines because it is technically sightline, but it's going to be very hard for them to control the full space with something like that. So this is kind of scuffed, but like you get the job done. And that's what counts. I wish that you had tried to get out of this, but One day he'll have cool channel points. I could force Aiden to hydrate himself. I'll take a sip of water right now. Okay. Trying to get ult charge back.
I'm on fire.
60 seconds remaining.
Stay out of my way.
So, does everyone see like why that works there? Right? What steps kind of led to it?
Thank you.
Again, that Bastion isn't very good. The Bastion should not have been holding that spot in the first place, but because you didn't know how to respond to it originally, that's why they were getting value out of it.
I'll show them.
Okay. Holding high ground, try and protect your Widow.
Routing power to forward shield.
Base tank.
Routing power to forward barrier.
In the escort phase, I get trying to hold a high ground here. This is fine. In the escort phase, D.va can definitely be one to push cart. It's not a bad idea.
I'm on fire. There's no way I'm
But you also
here.
need to think about kill. Because of your mobility.
Time to raise my APM. Get through this.
Yeah, don't try to charge in there. You're not Reinhardt. You are Reinhardt.
This.
10 seconds.
Why is this bomb here? Why doesn't this work out?
Time to raise my APM.
Okay, you fake him out.
Ten seconds.
Oh, it
remaining.
gets shielded. That's a really good shield, actually, because this should have definitely broken the immortality field. So yeah, he shields it off. Yeah, but that was a good spot to throw it. But you definitely pour their attention away from the main fight, and you force immortality here, which I think actually does a lot for you. Right, you force shield down significantly. He can't probably help. He doesn't get help with Zarya there. Immortality gets forced out. This would be a great time when everybody's purple to use it. So that bomb, even though it doesn't look like it, definitely did a lot. Right, you're forcing out immortality. You're forcing out shield, and it was in a decently good position that if the Sigma didn't do something, they at least lose the immortality field, if not a player or two. So even though the bomb doesn't connect, it does a lot. It's a good bomb, in my honest opinion. Alright, you're looking for the Ash. Yep, that's fine. Shoot her off. Oh, so high. Alright, definitely try to take the high ground here.
Time to raise my APM.
Try to take the high ground here. Alright, remember that angle pressure. You already were familiar with it from the tech before. When you try to get on that awning to shoot down the Bastion. Oh, actually, well, you're down here now. Be prepared to defense matrix ace here. He's gonna go for Blossom. Alright, same as like a Zarya bubble. Same kind of concept. Oh, you're trying to eat pulse bomb. Oh. There's a lot of things that you need to be focused on, and I think because you're playing down low, it makes this hard, right? Right. You don't have a very good idea of what's happening on the battlefield when you're right up front. Or at least getting pushed around in the middle of it all. And also, you keep using your defense matrix, I think, not really understanding when this trace is going to go, and you see her and your defense matrix her by habit. Except for right there. Alright, so you're waiting for that pulse bomb, and because it didn't happen, you did it twice, and she's going for the supports. You should know that she's looking for the supports, right? That's the win condition, is killing the supports up. So, being ready for that would have been good. Right, but you weren't, and then at the same time, Ace is going for a Death Blossom with Nano. Actually, that's huge, right? So the Tracer's not there to check him. Yeah, I mean, the D.va would have been helpful in either one of those circumstances, and you kind of just got split between the two, right? I mean, Ace doesn't get punished there because they just were committing resources to other stuff, and they didn't have a Tracer to chase him, but yeah. So you haven't done a whole lot in that fight in particular, mostly because your D matrix got a little wasted. You weren't aware that Tracer was going to go for your supports, right? You didn't know who you needed to be peeling for. You were just kind of like, oh, I see Tracer, I D matrix. Think about it in a similar way to Zarya, right? They achieved two very different they achieve two very similar things in two very different styles. And you have healers for this, so you have to start farming the salt pack.
Activating the barrier.
Yeah, three on cart's fine.
The payload is approaching its
Yeah, you're actually just gonna die here because you didn't farm it up. Does your team just lose off of this because they're down one?
Helden sterben nicht.
Alright, they're still trying to fight it. It's not looking good though.
Taking off.
Yeah.
Bailing out.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Right? I think if you right, and again it's that snowball effect. What happens if your healers are alive in this fight? Right? If your healers don't die here, you have help at the end of this fight.
I'm on fire.
The payload has reached.
You have people on cart. At this point, knowing your healers are down, I wouldn't mind if you made a beeline for this mega pack right here. Right? You've got people on cart. Or making sure that at least Ace stays on the cart. Because now you're just getting peppered and you get D-Mech for it. Yeah. Yeah, this Tracer just whittles your mech away.
Ejecting.
As soon as that mech's gone, you need to start shooting. You need to get this mech back. You cannot afford to be Baby D.Va here.
Activating.
Yeah. And the shield's going out, just push along with it. Push along with it. Shoot down this. Shoot down this if you have to, right? Whatever happens, you cannot afford to be Baby D.Va here.
The payload is
You're just shooting down a
its
line.
destination.
Because you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything in this fight. And you just get jumped in, shot, right? And cut out from healing too because you're in the bubble. So, okay. What are some notes that we have from this? So, from this review, let's see. Number one, actually, let me go to a better spot on the map. What's a nice like whiteboard spot? Let's get a whiteboard. Let's do it on this. We'll round the wall here. Yeah. All right, cool. We'll round this wall. So what are the things that need to be worked on? So number one, the major takeaways at least. Number one, Zarya bubbles have definitely significantly improved. You were commenting about how that wasn't your best game, and you talked about how this game is definitely more reflective of your skill level. I can see that. Your Zarya bubbles have been significantly improved. Your next focus that I want you to think about is survivability. So we also brought this up in that Blizzard World game where you were getting charge and then dying immediately in each fight because you didn't know how to back out. I think the not knowing how to back out and not knowing which fights to take and which ones to call is still an issue, but it's less of an issue, right? This is definitely a secondary thing that I wanted you to focus on from the get-go, but the bubbles have been better. So the bubbles, at least in terms of charge, have been a significant improvement. So good job. The thing I want you to think about now is how to be using your resources for peel when you have high charge, right? So this is not just exclusive to Zarya, but this is what thinking about D.Va as well, right? Who are the people that you need to protect? So do you have the ability to save your Ana if a Genji or a D.Va is jumping on her, right? Do you have the ability to keep your team safe in these situations? When you're playing D.Va, you were chasing down the Tracer and thinking, oh, she's going to pulse bomb me. She's going to pulse bomb me. Even though I get that you feel that you're important there, you're not as important as the supports for that Tracer to get because pulse bomb kills them for sure. So she's going to go looking for them. If you think that Tracer has pulse bomb, you need to be worried about that. Right? You need to be worried about the supports and you need to be ready to eat that. Same with like Grav, right? You can play forward into something like Grav because you know Zarya's going to be on the front line, but Tracer as a flanker is going to be going for those squishies in the back. So think about peel. Who do I protect? And this is both D Matrix So D Matrix and bubbles. The bubbles were more in the case of Ace, where they're going in with their Death Blossom, and you don't have any way of bailing them out or getting them maximum value out of the situation. So, understanding that bubbles are not just for you to get charged, but they're also a defensive tool. It's why Zarya is a tank, is because she has these defensive tools to keep her team safe in her arsenal. So, being mindful of that is a big one. And then the third thing, and this is definitely the last thing on this list, I want you to start thinking a little bit more about angles. I don't think we talked about this too much in the last review, but the reason that you're getting things done on Zarya and D.Va and Roadhog is because you're taking angles. I don't think you fully recognize this yet, or at least if you do, right, it's not something that you're always looking for. Or let me rephrase. It doesn't have to be something that you always look for, but it needs to be something that you're aware of, right? Of what value do I get by playing here as opposed to somewhere else, right? So this is really more of a positioning issue, right? It's thinking about how to position yourself better, using high grounds, using the flanks a little bit better, especially when you're playing off tanks. Zarya and Roadhog are both really good on taking off angles or guarding flanks. Roadhog especially is good at guarding flanks. But I see you do these things where you take your D.Va. I'll draw it out, right? So if this is the King's Row choke, you take D.Va. I'll put a little point here, right? So if this is the King's Row choke, you're taking D.Va and you're running her around the side here, and you understand that the focus fire from the enemy team cannot come at both ways at once in an effective manner. So I think you recognize why it works, but I don't think you understand quite yet. No, let me rephrase. I think you understand that it works. I don't think you quite understand yet why it works, or how to use it the most effectively. So doing these kinds of things is good. Your positioning is okay for the most part, especially for your elo. The major thing I would be more worried about, which I don't think is even in regards to positioning, but when you're on these flanks or angles, make sure that you're engaging with the team, right? So timing is going to be a big one when you go into higher and higher ranks. When you watch the pros execute plays, it's because they're all on the same page and they're all talking about the timing. And understandably, solo duo queue, you can't always talk with people because, matchmaking be like that sometimes. But you need to do this when the team's ready, right? And there's only like one or two cases of you really doing this, but regardless, it's what needs to happen, right? Because if you flank, right, the entire point is you are jumping people who are not ready for you. This no longer works when you are the only person on the field that they can see, because then everybody's looking at you, right? So be mindful that's that situation. But I think your Zarya play looks better for sure. You're certainly doing damage. Oh, that's the other thing. On top of survivability, I want you to think about the pressure that you deal as Zarya. This is a big one as well. When you have this high damage, understand that you going in is a scary threat to the enemy team. So this kind of ties into positioning more so of your team, right? Knowing where your Ana and your Mercy can help you, but understanding the pressure that you can deal is big. I think that's pretty much everything for the VOD review, but hopefully that was helpful. And yeah, I think I'm going to call the recording here.